Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defiance, watching the stars through the large window. His ship was huge, almost 2 miles long, with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Around him, his crew worked at their stations, checking systems and preparing for battle. "Captain, we're getting close to Kepler Station," said Lieutenant Kelly Brooks from her position at the navigation controls. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the tension underneath. They all knew this mission was dangerous. Jake nodded and looked at the tactical display. Red dots showed enemy ships around the space station. Green dots showed friendly forces, human ships, Sithari vessels that looked like giant sea creatures, and the crystal-shaped Zephyrian fighters. For 30 years, these 3 species had fought together against the Vex Empire. The Vex were monsters. They looked like giant insects with too many legs and black eyes that never blinked. Worse, they could take over other creatures by putting parasites in their brains. Every world they conquered became a breeding ground for more Vex. The galaxy was running out of time. "All ships, this is Admiral Lisa Taylor on the UHS Victory," came a voice over the communication system. "We begin our attack in 10 minutes. Remember, we must stop them from launching that bioweapon. If it reaches Earth or any of our allies' homeworlds, billions will die." Jake pressed a button to talk to his crew throughout the ship. "This is your captain speaking. Today we fight to save our homes and families. The Vex think they can wipe out all life in the galaxy. They're wrong. Human determination, Sithari courage, and Zephyrian precision will win this day." The crew cheered. Jake felt proud. Humans had joined the galactic community only 50 years ago, but they had proven themselves worthy allies. Human ships were fast and strong. Human soldiers were brave and smart. The other species respected them. "Captain," called out communications. "Officer Danny Price, I'm getting a strange signal. It's encrypted Sithari military code, but it's not on our battle frequency. Can you decode it?" Jake asked. "Working on it, sir." Danny's fingers moved quickly over his controls. After a few minutes, his face went pale. "Sir, you need to hear this." The bridge fell quiet as Danny played the message. The voice spoke in the clicking language of the Sithari, but the computer translated it into English. "All Sithari vessels, the deal is made. When the humans engage the Vex, turn your weapons on them. Leave no survivors. The Zephyrians will handle the smaller ships. Make it look like battle damage from the Vex. The galaxy belongs to us now." Jake felt his blood turn cold. "That can't be right. Check the translation again." Danny ran it through the system twice more. The message was the same. Around the bridge, Jake's officers stared at each other in shock. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Brooks, "look at the Sithari ships on the display." Jake looked. The blue whale-shaped vessels were slowly moving into position behind the human fleet. The Zephyrian crystal ships were doing the same thing. They weren't preparing to attack the Vex. They were surrounding the humans. "Red alert!" Jake shouted. "All hands to battle stations, communications, send a warning to Admiral Taylor immediately." But it was too late. The Sithari opened fire first. Bright blue energy beams shot from their weapons, hitting the UHS Victory. Admiral Taylor's flagship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Other human ships began taking hits as their allies turned on them. "Return fire," Jake ordered. "Target the Sithari ships." The Defiance turned its massive guns toward the whale-shaped vessels that had been friends just moments before. Red laser beams shot out, cutting through the hull of the nearest Sithari ship. But there were too many enemies. For every shot the humans fired, 10 came back at them. Lieutenant Brooks was thrown from her chair as the ship shook from enemy fire. "Hull breach on Deck 7. We're losing atmosphere." "Seal it off," Jake commanded. He watched in horror as human ships died all around them. The UHS Ranger broke in half after taking too many hits. The UHS Freedom went dark and began drifting. Escape pods launched from dying ships, but the Zephyrian fighters chased them down and destroyed them. "Why are they doing this?" cried Communications Officer Price. "We were allies." "I don't know," Jake said through gritted teeth, "but we need to survive to find out." On the main screen, Jake could see the Vex station. The insect creatures weren't even fighting back much. They seemed to know what was happening. Had they made some kind of deal with the Sithari and Zephyrians? Were the humans being traded away like cattle? "Captain, we've lost main engines," reported Chief Engineer Bill Watson over the intercom. I can give you emergency power, but we can't fight much longer. Jake made the hardest decision of his life. All hands, prepare for emergency jump. We're leaving. But sir, the other ships are already dead or dying. Jake finished sadly. If we stay, we die too. Then no one will know what really happened. Here. The Defiance's jump engines powered up. Around them, the last few human ships were being destroyed by creatures they had called friends. Jake watched the UHS Courage get torn apart by Sithari plasma cannons. The UHS Honor was swarmed by Zephyrian fighters until it exploded. Jump ready, Captain, reported Brooks. Do it. Space bent around them, and the battle disappeared. When the stars stopped moving, they were light years away from Kepler Station. The Defiance was alone in the darkness, carrying only 200 survivors from a crew of 3,000. Jake slumped in his captain's chair. His chest felt tight, and he could barely breathe. Everything he had believed in was gone. The alliance was a lie. The friendship between species was fake. Humanity had been betrayed by those they trusted most. Sir, Danny said quietly, I'm picking up Admiral Taylor's final transmission. She got it out just before her ship exploded. Jake listened to the Admiral's last words. Her voice was calm even as death came for her. To all human colonies and ships, trust no one but your own kind. The alliance is broken. They planned this from the beginning. Survive. Hide. Remember what they did to us. One day, we will make them pay. The message ended. Jake looked around his bridge at the faces of his surviving crew. They were hurt, angry, and scared. But they were alive. And as long as humans lived somewhere in the galaxy, the betrayers would never be safe. Set course for the Outer Rim, Jake ordered. We're going to find other survivors. Then we're going to plan our revenge. The Defiance turned toward the dark edge of the galaxy, carrying with it the seeds of humanity's future wrath. 5 years had passed since the betrayal at Kepler Station. Commander Ryan Mitchell floated through the narrow corridors of New Haven, a hidden base built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. The walls were rough rock, painted with cheap metal to seal in the air. Electric lights hung from cables, casting strange shadows everywhere. Ryan had been a lieutenant on a human destroyer when the betrayal happened. His ship had been one of the few to escape, but most of the crew died from their wounds during the long journey to safety. Now he led 47 survivors who had found this forgotten rock in space. "Morning, Commander," said Kelly Brooks as she passed him in the hallway. She had been an engineer in the old fleet, and now she spent her days taking apart alien technology they salvaged from wrecks. Her hands were always dirty with grease and metal dust. "Any luck with that Sithari power core?" Ryan asked. Kelly shook her head. "It's like trying to understand a language written in music, but I'm getting closer. Give me another week." Ryan nodded and continued to the medical bay. Dr. Susan Price was there, checking on old Mrs. Henderson, who had breathing problems from the thin air in their hiding place. The doctor looked tired. She always looked tired these days. "How is everyone today, Doc?" Ryan asked. "Alive," Susan said with a sad smile. "That's about all I can promise anymore. We need better medical supplies, Ryan, and real food, not just these protein bars." "I know. Maybe our next salvage run will turn up something useful." Ryan left the medical bay and went to the command center. It wasn't much, just a room with screens showing the space around their asteroid and a few computers that worked most of the time. But it was theirs. On the main screen, a red dot was moving slowly toward them. Ryan's heart started beating fast. Red dots meant ships, and ships usually meant trouble. "What do we have?" he asked Tony Garcia, who was watching the sensors. "Small craft, looks like a Sithari patrol ship. They're scanning asteroids one by one." Tony's voice was quiet, but Ryan could hear the fear. "They're looking for something. Us," Ryan said. "They're looking for us." For 5 years, humanity had been hunted across the galaxy. The Coalition told everyone that humans were extinct, killed in a tragic battle with the Vex, but they kept sending ships to find and destroy any survivors. Ryan guessed they were afraid that some humans had escaped to tell the truth about what really happened. "How long until they reach us?" Ryan asked. 2 hours, maybe 3 if they're being careful. Ryan thought quickly. They could try to hide, but their power systems might show up on the Sithari sensors. They could try to run, but their old transport ship was not fast enough to escape a patrol craft. Or they could do something crazy, Tony, how many people are on a Sci patrol ship? Usually 4 or 5. Why? Then Tony's eyes went wide. Ryan, you can't be thinking what I think you're thinking. Get everyone ready. We're going to capture that ship. An hour later, Ryan and 6 of his best people waited in their transport ship, the Lucky Break. It was an old mining vessel that looked like junk from the outside. That was exactly what Ryan wanted. The Sci patrol ship came close, just like Ryan hoped it would. The whale-shaped craft moved slowly around their asteroid, scanning for signs of life. Its blue hull gleamed in the starlight. "This is Sci Patrol Vessel Blue Current," came a voice over the radio, speaking in accented English. "Unknown ship, identify yourself." Ryan pressed the transmit button. "This is salvage ship Lucky Break. We're just looking for scrap metal. Is there a problem?" "Prepare to be boarded for inspection." "Sure thing. We don't want any trouble." The Sci ship moved closer and attached itself to the Lucky Break with a docking tube. Ryan and his people hid behind cargo boxes, weapons ready. They had spent years planning for something like this. The airlock opened, and 3 HFY warriors floated through. They looked like blue-skinned humans, but taller and thinner, with gill slits on their necks. They wore armor and carried energy weapons. "Where is your crew?" asked the leader, a female with silver markings on her forehead. "Right here," Ryan said, stepping out from behind cover. His people appeared from all sides, pointing human plasma rifles at the surprised aliens. The fight was short. The Sci were good warriors, but they had not expected an ambush on what looked like a harmless salvage ship. When it was over, 2 of the aliens were dead and 1 was wounded but alive. Ryan and his team quickly took control of the Sci patrol ship. It was beautiful inside, with curved walls that looked like the inside of a seashell. Everything was blue and silver, and the controls made musical sounds when touched. "Tie up the prisoner," Ryan ordered. "We need information." The wounded Sci was a young male with green eyes. He looked at Ryan with fear and hate. "You are supposed to be dead," he said in broken English. "Sorry to disappoint you," Ryan replied. "What's your name?" "I am HFY of the 3rd Deep Current. I will tell you nothing." Ryan sat down across from the prisoner. "HFY, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to know why your people betrayed us. We were allies. We fought together against the Vex for 30 years. You were useful," HFY said, spitting blue blood on the floor. "Your ships were strong, your tactics were clever, but you were also dangerous. Too dangerous to live. So you made a deal with the Vex?" HFY laughed, a sound like water bubbling. "The Vex were already beaten. Your people did that, but in doing so, you proved you were the real threat. One day you would have conquered us all." Ryan felt sick. "We never wanted to conquer anyone. We just wanted to be part of the galaxy. Your Admiral Taylor's battle plans are studied in our military schools now. Your shield technology protects our ships. Your medical knowledge heals our wounded. We learned much from you before we removed the threat. You stole our technology. We took what we needed. After the betrayal, your databases, your weapons, your knowledge, everything was divided among the coalition species. The Zephyrians got your energy systems. We took your naval tactics and medical advances. The Cathara claimed your cybernetic implants." Ryan stood up, his hands shaking with anger. "You didn't just try to kill us. You took everything we created and made it your own." "Of course. Why waste good ideas? Your people are gone, but your innovations live on in our hands." Kelly. Brooks had been listening from the doorway. Now she stepped forward, her face red with fury. "Every piece of human technology has quantum signatures built into the design," she said. "It was a security measure we used during the war." "What does that mean?" Ryan asked. Kelly smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "It means we can track every piece of stolen human tech in the galaxy, and if I'm right about how our old systems work, we might be able to do more than just track them." HFY's eyes went wide. "You cannot. The knowledge is ours now. We earned it in battle." "You earned nothing," Ryan said. "You're thieves and murderers. But maybe it's time we took back what belongs to us." Later, after they had searched the Sci ship's computer files, Ryan called a meeting of all the survivors in New Haven. The information they had found was shocking. The Coalition had not just stolen human technology, they had built their entire military advantage on it. "Every major Sci warship uses human shield generators," Kelly reported. The Zephyrians power their cities with modified human fusion reactors. The Kythera have turned our cybernetic research into control systems for their soldier bugs. How many human survivors are there? Asked Dr. Price. Tony Garcia had been working on the communication logs. According to their records, the Coalition thinks they killed 90% of humanity, but that still leaves about 50 million people scattered across the galaxy, hiding like we are. 50 million, Ryan repeated. That's not many compared to the billions on Earth, but it's enough. It's enough to start over. Start over and do what? Asked old Mrs. Henderson. We can't fight the whole galaxy. Ryan looked around at the faces of his people. They were tired, scared, and hurt. But they were also angry, and sometimes anger was enough. We're going to send a message to every human survivor we can find, he said. We're going to tell them what we learned here. The Coalition species didn't just betray us. They stole everything that made us strong. Every ship they fly, every weapon they carry, every system that keeps them alive has human fingerprints on it. And then what? Kelly asked. Ryan smiled grimly. Then we're going to take it all back. Every last piece of stolen technology, every ship, every weapon, every idea they stole from us. And when we're done, they'll remember why they were so afraid of humanity in the first place. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Tony Garcia started clapping. Soon everyone was clapping and cheering. For the first time in 5 years, the survivors of New Haven had hope. Outside their asteroid, the stolen Sithari patrol ship waited in the darkness. Soon it would carry a message across the galaxy, a message that would wake the sleeping giant of human rage. The betrayers had thought they had destroyed humanity. They were about to learn how wrong they had been. The message from New Haven spread through the hidden networks like wildfire. On a dozen different worlds, in forgotten asteroid bases and hidden moon colonies, human survivors read Ryan Mitchell's words and felt something they had not felt in years. Hope mixed with burning anger. On the ice moon of Titan 7, Captain Jake Morrison received the transmission in his makeshift command center. His ship, the Defiance, sat in a carved-out ice cave, hidden from Coalition patrols. Over the past 5 years, Jake had gathered nearly 800 survivors from crashed ships and destroyed colonies. "Sir," said Lieutenant Brooks, who had become his communications officer, "we're getting responses from 17 different survivor groups. They all want to know more about this quantum signature business." Jake nodded and studied the data Ryan had sent. "Get me Dr. Helen Webb on Facility Omega. If anyone can make sense of this technical stuff, it's her." "Sir, Facility Omega has been dark for 2 years. We assumed it was destroyed." "Try anyway. Use the old emergency codes." Brooks worked at her console for several minutes. Just as she was about to give up, a voice crackled through the static. "This is Facility Omega. Who is this?" Jake's heart jumped. "This is Captain Morrison of the UHS Defiance. We thought you were all dead." "Not yet, Captain. This is General Amy Carter. I think it's time we had a talk." 3 days later, Jake's transport ship approached what looked like a dead asteroid in the outer rim of the galaxy. As they got closer, hidden weapons systems locked onto them, and a voice demanded proper identification codes. Only then did the rock open up to reveal a massive secret base built deep inside. Facility Omega was bigger than New Haven, bigger than any human settlement Jake had seen since the betrayal. Hundreds of people worked in clean corridors lined with advanced technology. This wasn't a hiding place. It was a fortress. General Amy Carter met Jake at the docking bay. She was a tall woman with gray hair and steel-gray eyes. Jake remembered her from before the war. She had been one of Earth's most respected military leaders. "Welcome to humanity's last hope," she said as she led Jake through the facility. "While the rest of us have been hiding and running, my people have been working." "Working on what?" Jake asked. "Revenge." Carter brought Jake to a large conference room where other people were waiting. He recognized some faces: Dr. Marcus Webb, who had been Earth's top weapons researcher, and Colonel Linda Hayes, who had commanded Special Forces operations. "Before I show you what we've built here," Carter said, "you need to understand something. During the war with the Vex, Earth's government asked us to develop weapons that could end the conflict quickly. Some of the things we created were so terrible that they classified them as extinction protocols, too dangerous to ever use." Dr. Webb stepped forward. He was a thin man with wild hair and nervous hands. "We built weapons that could destroy entire star systems, Captain. Viruses that could drive whole species insane. Nanomachines that could eat planets." "Why are you telling me this?" Jake asked. "Because we found something else in our research," Carter replied. "Kelly Brooks was right about the quantum signatures. Every piece of human technology has a unique fingerprint built into its basic design, but what she didn't know is that we also built backdoors." Colonel Hayes smiled grimly. "Every human-designed system has hidden commands built into its core programming. Commands that only we know about. Commands that can shut down any device, any ship, any weapon that uses our stolen technology." Jake felt his mouth go dry. "You mean every Cathari ship using human shields, every Zephyrian city powered by our fusion reactors, every Cathara soldier with our cybernetic implants? We can turn them all off with the press of a button," Carter said. Dr. Webb led them to another room filled with computer screens and quantum processors. "It took us 5 years to build the network needed to reach across the galaxy, but it's ready now. We call it the Reversal Protocol." On the main screen, Jake could see a map of known space. Thousands of tiny dots showed the location of stolen human technology throughout Coalition space. "This is incredible," Jake whispered. "We could cripple their entire military in minutes." "We could," Carter agreed. "But there's something else you need to know. Something worse." She led him to the medical section of the facility. Dr. Webb pulled up biological charts on his screen. "The Coalition species are dying, Captain. Not from disease or war, from our technology. I don't understand." "Human technology was designed for human biology," Dr. Webb explained. "Our neural interfaces work with human brain patterns. Our medical systems are calibrated for human genetics. Our cybernetic implants are built to work with human nervous systems." Jake stared at the charts showing alien biology. "And when other species use them, they're slowly poisoning themselves," Carter finished. "The Cathari who use human neural interfaces are developing brain tumors. Zephyrians exposed to human fusion radiation are having genetic problems. The Cathara with our cybernetic implants are going insane. They stole our technology, but they can't really use it safely," Dr. Webb said. "They're like children playing with loaded guns. Eventually, it's going to kill them." Jake felt a cold anger growing in his chest. "How long do they have? At current rates of exposure? The first generation might survive, but their children won't. In 50 years, the Coalition species will be extinct unless they stop using human technology, which would mean giving up their military advantage completely." Carter sat down heavily in a chair. "So we have a choice, Captain. We can use the Reversal Protocol to shut down their stolen technology immediately and watch their civilizations collapse in chaos. We can wait and let our technology slowly poison them to death. Or what? We can take back what's ours and make them pay for what they did to us." Over the next several hours, Carter explained the plan that had been taking shape at Facility Omega. Using the hidden survivor networks, they would coordinate simultaneous strikes across Coalition space. The Reversal Protocol would shut down stolen technology at key moments, crippling enemy defenses. Human strike teams would capture important facilities and leaders. "The goal isn't just revenge," Carter explained. "It's justice. They took everything from us. Our homes, our technology, our future. Now we take everything from them." Jake thought about his crew aboard the Defiance, about the friends he had lost at Kepler Station, about 5 years of hiding in caves and asteroids. "What do you need from me?" "Help us contact every survivor group in the galaxy. We need to coordinate this perfectly, or it won't work." That night, Jake sent messages to Ryan Mitchell at New Haven and every other survivor leader he knew. Within days, responses came back from across the galaxy. Humans hiding in the ruins of destroyed colonies, living in stolen ships, working as slaves on alien worlds. All of them wanted to join the fight. The network grew quickly. Commander Sarah Hayes led a group hiding in the asteroid belt of the Zephyrian home system. Captain Bill Watson had 200 survivors living in the wreckage of a destroyed space station. Dr. Helen Foster had escaped from a Cathara research facility with vital intelligence about enemy weaknesses. Each group brought something valuable: ships, weapons, information, or just angry people ready to fight. But they all brought the same thing: a burning desire to make the betrayers pay. "We have enough people now," Carter announced at a meeting 6 months later. 15,000 survivors across 47 different locations. It's time to begin. Jake looked at the tactical displays showing human positions throughout Coalition space. They were badly outnumbered, but they had advantages the enemy didn't know about. They had technology the aliens couldn't fully understand or safely use. Most importantly, they had something the Coalition had forgotten about: human determination and the rage of the betrayed. "When do we start?" Jake asked. Carter smiled, and it was not a kind expression. "The Coalition has a big military parade planned for next month on the Sithari homeworld. They're celebrating 5 years of peace since the extinction of humanity. Ships from all 3 species will be there, showing off their stolen human technology." "Perfect," Jake said. "Indeed. We'll hit them when they're all gathered together, proud and confident. We'll show them that humanity is not extinct. We'll show them that betrayers always pay the price in the end." Jake thought about Admiral Taylor's last message: survive, hide, remember. They had done all 3. Now it was time for the 4th part, the part the Admiral had only implied: make them pay. "Send the word to all survivor groups," Carter ordered. "Operation Prometheus begins in 30 days. Tell them it's time to take back everything they stole from us." As the message went out across the hidden networks, Jake felt something he hadn't felt since the betrayal: excitement. The Coalition thought humanity was dead and buried. They were about to learn that humans were very much alive and very, very angry. The galaxy was about to remember why they had been so afraid of humanity in the first place. The day of the Coalition's celebration dawned bright over the blue oceans of Cathari Prime. In orbit above the water world, hundreds of ships gathered in perfect formation: sleek Sithari vessels, crystalline Zephyrian cruisers, and the dark insect-like ships of the Cathera, all of them powered by stolen human technology. Admiral Kef Salar of the Cathari Deep Fleet stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Flowing Current. Through the transparent walls, he could see the celebration fleet spread out like a glittering net. 5 years ago, his people had helped destroy the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. Today, they celebrated that victory. "Admiral," reported his communications officer, "all ships are in position for the ceremony. The Zephyrian delegation is ready to present their trophy weapons, and the Cathera have brought examples of their enhanced soldiers." "Excellent," Kef Salar said. The trophy weapons were human plasma cannons that the Zephyrians had improved with their crystal technology. The enhanced soldiers were Cathara warriors with human cybernetic implants that made them faster and stronger. Both were symbols of how the Coalition had grown stronger by taking the best of human innovation. What the Admiral didn't know was that Captain Jake Morrison was watching from a cloaked human ship just outside the sensor range of the Celebration fleet. The Defiance had been modified with stealth technology over the past 5 years, and now it was invisible to Coalition sensors. "All teams report ready," Lieutenant Brooks said from her station. "The survivor groups are in position across the galaxy." Jake nodded and opened a channel to General Carter at Facility Omega. "This is Prometheus Lead. All units are standing by." "Confirmed, Jake. Remember, we hit them all at once. If even one group jumps early, the whole operation could fail." Jake looked at his tactical display. Green dots showed human forces hidden throughout Coalition space. They were badly outnumbered, but they had surprise and stolen alien technology of their own. More importantly, they had the reversal protocol. "All units, this is Prometheus Lead," Jake announced. "Begin Operation Prometheus. Show them that humanity is not dead." At Facility Omega, Dr. Marcus Webb's fingers moved across his control panel. Quantum signals raced across the galaxy at faster-than-light speed, carrying activation codes to every piece of stolen human technology in Coalition space. On Sithari Prime, Admiral Kef Salar was in the middle of giving a speech about the glorious victory over humanity when every human-designed system on his ship suddenly shut down. The lights went out. The engines stopped. The weapons powered down. Emergency systems failed to activate. "What's happening?" he demanded in the darkness. "I don't know, sir," came a panicked voice. "All our primary systems are offline. It's like they just turned themselves off." Across the Celebration fleet, the same thing was happening. Zephyrian ships using human power cores went dark. Cathera vessels with human weapons systems became floating metal boxes. In minutes, the most powerful fleet in Coalition space was helpless, but the chaos was just beginning. As the reversal protocol spread across the galaxy, human technology everywhere began shutting down. On the Zephyrian homeworld, fusion reactors that powered entire cities went offline. Cathera research stations lost life support as their human-designed environmental systems failed. Military bases throughout Coalition space found their most advanced weapons suddenly useless. "Now," Jake whispered. The Defiance decloaked right in the middle of the Celebration fleet, its weapons already charging. Around the galaxy, hidden human forces revealed themselves and struck at defenseless targets. Commander Ryan Mitchell led a squadron of salvaged ships against a Sithari supply depot that had been storing captured human equipment. With the depot's defenses offline, his people easily captured the facility and began loading their stolen goods back onto human ships. Commander Sarah Hayes and her team used the confusion to rescue human prisoners from a Zephyrian research station. The aliens had been studying captured humans to understand how their technology worked. Now those same humans turned the station's own security systems against their captors. Captain Bill Watson attacked a Cathera military base, using the base's own weapons against the bug-like soldiers whose cybernetic implants had suddenly stopped working. The enhanced warriors who had seemed so dangerous with human technology were helpless without it. Back at Sithari Prime, Admiral Kef Salar watched in horror as human ships appeared throughout his fleet. The small human force was outnumbered 50-1, but numbers didn't matter when only the human ships could move and fight. "Get our backup systems online," he ordered. "We're trying, sir, but the backup systems are based on human technology too. Everything with human components has shut down." The Admiral felt a cold fear growing in his stomach. "How much of our fleet uses human technology?" His aide checked a report on a handheld device that still worked. 80% of our ships, sir. Nearly all our weapons. Most of our sensors and communications." Kef Salar sank into his command chair. In their eagerness to steal human innovations, the Coalition had made themselves completely dependent on technology they didn't fully understand, now that technology had turned against them. "Sir," called out his communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the human ships." "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing the face of a human male in a military uniform. Kef Salar recognized him from intelligence files. Captain Jake Morrison, one of the survivors from the Kepler station betrayal. "Hello, Admiral," Jake said with a cold smile. "I believe you have something that belongs to us." "This is impossible," Kef Salar sputtered. "Your species is extinct. We destroyed you." "You tried," Jake replied. "You betrayed us, murdered our people, and stole our technology. But you made one mistake. You underestimated human ingenuity. Every piece of technology you stole from us has hidden commands built into it, commands that only we know about. Around the galaxy, Coalition forces were learning the same terrible lesson. Dr. Helen Foster, who had been rescued from Cathera captivity, broadcast a message to all Coalition worlds. You thought you could take our knowledge and use it against us. But human technology recognizes its true masters. Today, we take back everything you stole. The fighting was fierce but one-sided. Coalition ships that relied on human technology were sitting ducks. Military bases with human-designed defenses couldn't protect themselves. Entire star systems found their infrastructure failing as human-built power systems and computer networks shut down. But the humans weren't just destroying things. They were reclaiming them. Every captured human ship, every stolen piece of equipment, every database of human knowledge was taken back. Years of Coalition research based on human technology was wiped from their computers and downloaded to human vessels. On Zephyrian Prime, the crystal cities went dark as their human fusion reactors shut down. The crystalline beings who lived there found themselves trapped in their own homes as human-designed life support systems failed. They had grown so dependent on stolen human technology that they couldn't survive without it. The Cathera homeworld was even worse. The insect-like species had integrated human cybernetic technology into their very bodies. When the reversal protocol activated, Millions of Kythera soldiers collapsed as their implants shut down. Some died instantly. Others were left paralyzed or brain damaged. Within 12 hours, Operation Prometheus had crippled the coalition across the galaxy. Their most powerful fleets were helpless. Their advanced weapons were useless metal. Their cities were dying without power. The three species that had betrayed humanity found themselves begging for mercy. "Please," Admiral Kef Salar transmitted to Jake's ship, "we can negotiate. We can make a deal." Jake's face appeared on the screen again, but now his smile was gone. "You want to make a deal? Like the deal you made with the Vex? Like the deal you made when you decided to murder every human in the galaxy?" "We were afraid," the Admiral admitted. "Your people were too strong, too dangerous. We thought—" "You thought you could steal everything we had built and use it against us," Jake interrupted. "You were wrong. Human technology was designed by humans for humans. It was never meant for thieves and murderers." Across the Coalition fleet, human ships moved like sharks among helpless prey. But they weren't destroying everything. Instead, they were taking control. Human boarding parties captured key ships and facilities. Human technicians restored power and life support, but only under human control. "Here's our deal," Jake announced to the Coalition forces. "You will surrender all human prisoners. You will return all stolen human technology. You will provide complete databases of every human colony and settlement you destroyed, and you will submit to human authority." "And if we refuse?" Kef Salar asked. Jake gestured to his weapons officer. Every human ship in the area powered up their weapons and aimed them at the helpless Coalition vessels. "Then you can try to rebuild your civilization without any technology at all," Jake said. "But I should warn you, our technology isn't just in your ships and weapons. It's in your water treatment plants, your food production systems, your medical equipment. Without human knowledge, your people will start dying within days." 2 years after Operation Prometheus began, Admiral Lisa Taylor stood on the bridge of the UHS Retribution, looking out at the transformed galaxy. The ship was named after the admiral who had died at Kepler Station, and it was the largest vessel humanity had ever built. Around it, a fleet of reclaimed and rebuilt ships patrolled what had once been Coalition space. The Coalition no longer existed. In its place was the Human Protectorate, with former enemy worlds serving as junior partners. Under human oversight, the species that had betrayed humanity now worked to rebuild what they had destroyed, knowing their survival depended entirely on human mercy. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Danny Price, who had survived the original betrayal and now served on humanity's flagship. "We're receiving the daily reports from the Protectorate worlds." Lisa nodded as the information appeared on her screens. Sithari Prime had completed construction of the new human naval base and was beginning work on the orbital shipyards. The Zephyrian crystal farms were producing materials for human technology at record rates. The Kythera Hive worlds had been transformed into industrial centers, their insect-like workers building human equipment under careful supervision. "Any problems?" Lisa asked. "Minor protests on 2 Zephyrian worlds," Danny reported. "They're complaining about working conditions. Admiral Mitchell's forces are handling it." Lisa wasn't surprised. Some members of the former Coalition species still resented human rule, even though humanity had saved them from extinction. The biological poisoning from stolen human technology had been spreading faster than anyone expected. Without human medical intervention, all 3 species would have died out within a generation. "Admiral," called out Tactical Officer Kelly Brooks, "incoming transmission from Earth. It's President Williams." Lisa straightened her uniform. The reconstruction of Earth's government had taken 2 years, with survivors returning from across the galaxy to rebuild their homeworld. President Williams had been elected by the scattered human populations to lead their species into a new age. "Admiral Taylor," the president's voice came through clearly, "I hope you're ready for some visitors. The Coalition survivors are requesting a meeting." "What kind of meeting, sir?" "The kind where they beg for better treatment," Williams replied with dry humor. "Apparently, some of their leaders think the current arrangement is too harsh." Lisa almost laughed. The current arrangement was incredibly generous, considering what the Coalition had tried to do to humanity. The former enemy species were allowed to govern their own daily affairs, practice their cultures, and live in peace. All they had to give up was their military independence and their right to own advanced technology without human permission. When and where, Mr. President? Tomorrow at the New Geneva Space Station. I'll be there personally along with the other human leaders. We want you and your fleet there as a reminder of what happens to species that betray humanity. The next day, Lisa watched from the observation deck of New Geneva Station as the coalition delegation arrived. Their ships were small and simple, nothing like the powerful vessels they had once commanded. The reversal protocol had permanently disabled most of their advanced technology, leaving them with only basic space travel capabilities. The delegation was led by Admiral Kef Salar of the Sithari, Crystal Singer Zara of the Zephyrians, and Hive Mind Kritak of the Cathara. All three looked older and more tired than Lisa remembered from intelligence files. The stress of watching their civilizations collapse and then slowly rebuild under human control had taken its toll. President Williams met them in the main conference room, with Lisa and the other human military leaders standing behind him. The contrast was clear. The humans looked strong and confident, while the former coalition leaders looked like defeated supplicants. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting," Admiral Kef Salar began. His blue skin had a pale, unhealthy look that came from the biological damage caused by human technology. "We come to request a review of the protectorate terms." "What exactly are you requesting?" President Williams asked. Crystal Singer Zara stepped forward. Her crystalline form was cracked in several places, another result of incompatible human technology. "Our people are suffering under the current restrictions. We understand that we must pay for our crimes against humanity, but surely 2 years of service is enough." Lisa felt a cold anger growing in her chest. 2 years?" she said, stepping forward. "You tried to commit genocide against our entire species. You murdered billions of innocent people. You stole our technology and claimed it as your own. And you think 2 years of supervised rebuilding is enough punishment?" Hive Mind Kritak, speaking through one of its drone bodies, made a clicking sound that translated as distress. "We were wrong to betray the Alliance. We admit our guilt, but our species are dying. The medical treatments you provide keep us alive, but at great cost to our dignity and independence." "Your dignity?" President Williams stood up, his voice hard. "Where was human dignity when you turned our own weapons against us? Where was our independence when you divided our technology among yourselves like spoils of war?" "We were afraid," Admiral Kef Salar said quietly. "Your species was advancing too quickly. In another generation, you would have surpassed all of us. We saw only 2 choices, destroy you or be destroyed by you. So you chose genocide," Lisa said, "and now you're upset that we chose justice instead of revenge." The room fell silent. The coalition delegates looked at each other nervously. They had come hoping to negotiate better terms, but they were beginning to realize that humanity's patience had limits. "What do you want from us?" Crystal Singer Zara asked finally. President Williams activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Green areas marked human-controlled space, which now included most of the former coalition territory. Blue areas showed the remaining free worlds, mostly primitive species that had never been part of the betrayal. "This is what we want," Williams said. "Complete integration into the human protectorate. Your species will become junior partners in human civilization. You'll have representation in our government, protection under our laws, and access to human technology, but only under human supervision." "For how long?" Admiral Kef Salar asked. "Forever," Lisa answered bluntly. "You proved you can't be trusted with advanced technology. You proved you're willing to commit genocide when it suits your interests. Humanity will never again allow you to have the power to threaten innocent lives." Hive Mind. Kritak's drone body trembled with rage. "You would make us slaves?" "We would make you citizens," President Williams corrected. "Citizens of a galaxy where genocide is not tolerated, where betrayal has consequences, and where humanity ensures that the mistakes of the past are never repeated." Crystal Singer Zara looked around the room desperately. "And if we refuse?" Lisa smiled, but it was not a kind expression. "Then you're free to try rebuilding your civilizations without any human technology or assistance. Of course, your people will start dying from the biological damage within months. Your ships will never leave your home systems again. Your cities will fall into ruin without human-designed infrastructure. You would let us die? Admiral Kef Salar asked in shock. We would let you live with the consequences of your choices, Williams replied, just like we had to live with the consequences of trusting you. The coalition delegates huddled together, speaking in their own languages. Lisa could see the fear in their eyes. They had expected humanity to be merciful, forgiving, willing to let the past be forgotten. Instead, they found a species that remembered everything and forgave nothing. After several minutes, Admiral Kef Salar stepped forward. We accept your terms, he said quietly. Our species will join the Human Protectorate as junior partners. Good, President Williams said. You'll find that humans can be fair rulers as long as you remember your place. As the coalition delegates left the station, Lisa remained on the observation deck, watching their small ships disappear into the distance. Admiral Danny Price joined her, looking out at the human fleet that now dominated this part of space. Do you think we're being too harsh? He asked. Lisa thought about her friends who had died at Kepler Station, about the children who had been murdered in their beds when the coalition attacked human colonies, about the 5 years of hiding and fear that humanity had endured. No, she said finally. They had their chance to be our equals. They chose to be our enemies instead. Now they'll learn what it means to serve those they tried to destroy. Outside the station, human ships patrolled the space lanes that had once belonged to the coalition. Human colonies were being rebuilt on worlds that had been stripped bare by the betrayers. Human children would grow up in a galaxy where their species was not just surviving, but thriving. The coalition had betrayed humanity in war, thinking they could take everything humans had built. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. Human determination, human ingenuity, and human justice. Now the galaxy belonged to humanity, and the species that had once tried to destroy them would spend the rest of their existence serving those they had betrayed. It was not the ending the coalition had planned, but it was the ending they had earned.